Everyone, welcome to the Stage 15 preview of the Tour de France. A quick reminder of the World Sports Betting Money Back for second place special. And then also, if you do enjoy these previews, do us a favor, hit the like button. It helps the rankings of the channel a lot. And of course, we're looking to grow that at Good for the Game. 1 week of the Tour de France left, and we certainly are heading now into the business end of proceedings. But today is unlikely to be a day for the general classification. We'll get into that in just a second. But let's first touch on what happened in that stage 14. Well, as expected, a breakaway went up the road. And I've got to say that, if you're a Tour de France fan and you don't like watching the start of the stages because you always consider them too boring, yes, that may be the case in some of the first week when they just let 3 week riders get off the road. But there's nothing better than watching a strong break form. And yesterday was unbelievable. There was even one point where Vingard was isolated and Pogacar had a go at him. It was really fascinating to watch. But Jumbo-Visma managed to get the act together, bring everything back together. And ultimately, we had a strong break up the road. They were very quickly allowed a big lead. A lead that, by the way, was big. At one stage, had Louis Meintjes challenging the yellow jersey, which was quite interesting. We'll get into that in just a second as well. But certainly a fascinating stage. Michael Matthews took the initiative a long way out. He attacked. He clearly wanted to be ahead going into that final steep climb. In the end, he was successful. Bettiol did very well to ride across him. But Michael Matthews, well done to him. This guy keeps on knocking on the door, and he's finally won another stage of the Tour de France. So well done to Matthews. Bettiol, he's been in excellent form. Unfortunately, I think just had too much work to do to close the gap. Never had anything left at the end. He was second. And Pinot showed some promising legs, finishing in third. There was no real action amongst the GC guys, although Thomas did lose a few seconds to Vingard and Pogacar came in together there. I don't know what Pogacar was doing with that. Pogacar was doing with that final sprint there. But anyway, Vingard stuck right to his wheel. He still leads Pogacar by 2:22. We got Thomas at 2:43 back. Bardet's also fallen just outside of the 3-minute mark now. 3 minutes and 1 second back. Let's have a quick look at the general classification betting. I'm sorry, you can see I was looking at my other odds here. We'll quickly bring that up. I actually haven't looked at it yet myself, but I wouldn't imagine we're going to get much in the way of changes here. And for some reason, once again, my computer just goes on a go slow when I change. Yeah, but we got Vingard at just under 3 to 10 there. Pogacar, he's at 3 to 1 and 16 to 1. Thomas, points classification, Wout obviously 1 to 20. The mountains is getting interesting. 4 to 1 Vingard, 9 to 2 Pogacar. Geschke's hanging in there at the moment. He's at 9 to 1, but I can't see him hanging in much longer. Yesterday was a bit disappointing for me in a way. I just want to go back to the general classification where Louis Meintjes has now ridden himself up into 7th spot. Now, Meintjes sits second of the King of the Mountains, and I've got him at 150 to 1 for the King of the Mountains. But the problem is now, Meintjes is not going to be allowed to get into the breaks anymore, and he's going to start riding to protect his 7th place. So disappointing for me from a betting point of view, but well done. Nice to have a South African up there in the top 10, that's for sure. The team classification, Ineos Grenadiers, well, they look pretty much untouchable. In fact, I'm going to go too far as to say they are untouchable there, that 1 to 12. So same price as Pogacar for the young jersey. So nothing much in the classifications that we want to talk about. Let's get stuck into the stage itself, stage 15. Well, I'd read earlier in the tour a lot about it being one for the sprinters. And in theory, yes, the sprinters may play a role here. But at this stage of the Tour de France and looking at this profile, I actually think the sprinters are really going to struggle to have any say here. So if we have a look at the start, first of all, it's 202 kilometers. We got a very lumpy start, no categorized climbs here in the first sort of 64K. But then we then go into a Cat 4 climb, 4.4 kilometers at 4.6%. A little bit of flatter terrain, still quite lumpy though. We got a sprint, which forms part of the final Cat 3 climb of 5.1 kilometers at 4.1%. And then there's a sort of rolling, descending finish with a couple of little bumps here or there. And then quite a flat end for the last sort of 13, 14 kilometers. So, yeah, interesting. I mean, that Cat 3 climb certainly it makes you think that some of the sprinters, like, and I'm thinking particularly Jacobsen and Groenewegen, are going to struggle to get over. Yes, Groenewegen is starting to climb a lot better than he was. But at the end of the day, yeah, we can run through the scenarios now, but at the end of the day, I think they're going to battle. So it's all going to depend on what sort of break we get. And I think we're going to get a strong break going away. I also think you're going to get teams like Trek Segafredo with the likes of Pedersen and Staven trying to get into the break. And that will be quite crucial because if they miss the break, they are the one team that will probably chase. Well, they're not the one team that will chase, but they're the team with strength that will chase for a sprint finish because they do have the likes of Pedersen and Staven who can contest that. So Who's going to get into the break is going to be interesting. I think the majority of teams are going to try and put riders into the break. And once the break is gone, and where that goes is really anybody's guess, who's going to take charge and try and bring this back to the sprint finish? Obviously, Alpecin would probably be the favourites for that, because they've got Philipsen, who's looked very good, and he can definitely handle this final climb. But it's a hot day. It's really tough terrain. It's going to be very difficult to control. They're going to need help. They might get help from Bike Exchange riding for Groenewegen, or even potentially Matthews. Who knows what Matthews does today? Does he try to get into the break again? He did so well yesterday. But I can only imagine that he's quite spent after all the efforts he put on a very hot, long and tiring day yesterday. So we're going to have a breakaway go that I believe is going to be strong, and we're going to have the likes of Bike Exchange and Alpecin, and who knows, maybe they get help from someone else trying to chase it down, but I don't think they're going to succeed. This is not the sort of terrain where it's going to be easy to control. And at this stage of the Tour de France, a lot of your domestiques, your guys who normally sit on the front and chase down the break, come on, man, they're tired. Everyone's tired and sort of probably begging for tomorrow's rest day. So in my view, a break is going to stick here. So let's get into the betting. I normally just look at Sunbet, and I've been looking at World Sports Betting, but I've also got funds in my bet exchange account at the moment. So I'll bring up the outright markets. What I've done is I've just taken a bit of a screenshot on it. I'll bring up, and I'm also going to bring up my bets here. Let's have a look at my bets. Just take this up a little bit. Right, so this is the betting at Bet Exchange. I've highlighted a couple of my fancies here. We've got Wout van Aert, the favourite at 11-2. He's the same as Philipsen. Yes, if this all comes down together, it's hard to look past Van Aert and Philipsen. No doubt about it, the Jumbo-Visma will not chase. And I don't see Wout van Aert getting in the break. I think he'll be on domestic duty if necessary today for Vingegaard. The green jersey is pretty much wrapped up in any case. But if it comes back together, yes, Wout van Aert will be a strong contender, as will Philipsen. Groenewegen, 7-1. You can't have him. Well, I can't have him. With your money, I wouldn't back him at 7-1. I do think that he's going to be shelled at some point. Jakobsen also going to struggle at 9s. Pedersen showed great legs when he won for us at 14-1 on Friday. He's 9-1. And Caleb Ewan, he was off yesterday. He fell. I don't know. It's just hard to make a case for Ewan. I think that Lotto are going to try and get someone into the break. I don't see them doing a lot of work on the front to bring Ewan back. So anyway, there's the betting. So the first guy that I've come to is Jasper Stuyven here at 40-1. I've seen as short as 28-1. There's 33-1. So if you can grab the 40-1, I think it's a decent price on Stuyven. He hasn't looked brilliant, but he's certainly strong enough to get into the break. And he's the type of guy who could finish from a small select group and also potentially go solo for the victory. I know my partner and good friend at Good for the Game, Chris Sturdy, a.k.a. Mackham on the forum, will be sticking Stuyven into his staking plan. He's a massive fan of him. Next on the list for me is a big price as well, I think, is Filippo Ganna. We saw him in the breakaway a couple of days ago. He had a bit more of an off day yesterday. By off, I mean, not working too hard. And he's 80-1. Any are sticking guys into the break. They are nailing down this team competition. But aside from that, they're looking for stage wins. And I think Ganna's a very good prospect for them today. I like he can handle these climbs, and I also like the fact that he's the type of guy who can go late and make a break and not be caught again. And the only thing is, if he's in there with another Ineos rider, sometimes he's the one doing the work in the break, and hopefully that won't be the case today. I think Ganna's a huge price, quite frankly, at 80-1. Here we have Edwald Boassenhagen. He's showing some good legs. Chris and I are both big fans of this man over the years. He hasn't really done that much lately, but he's just starting to show signs of coming back. His team don't have many prospects here. Peter Sagan, certainly not looking strong enough that they're going to work for him. So I think that Boassenhagen is going to be stuck into the break, and he is the sort of guy who can finish off from a select sprint, and he can also come home lonely as well. Boassenhagen at 100-1. How about Andrea Pasqualin of the Intermarché team? 150-1. This guy's been rather anonymous in the race, but if you look at his results, he's actually put in some pretty solid performances. He's a strong rider. He's well capable of getting into the break and potentially also drawing clear to win late. And he's got a little bit of speed as well. So we're getting a big price about him here. So those are the four guys. But the fifth guy's not even in the Bet Exchange betting. And for that, I'm going to just pop across to Sunbet quickly, and we'll go to their stage betting. And that is a team that has really had a poor Tour de France is Astana. I heard some stat, I don't know if it's still relevant, but the other day, I don't even think they'd had a top 10 finish. So there must be serious pressure on this team. And let's go down to him. Yeah, I think he was 300-1. Velasco. Come on, we got to scroll to find this guy. There we go. Simon Velasco, 300-1. Astana surely got to look to get someone in the break, and I think he's as good a candidate as any. And who knows from there? He'll be quite anonymous. I see this stage, as I say, I see a strong break, but what's going to happen is you're going to get the break attacking each other, and the riders who may not get chased straight away are the ones who are not like that well thought of. So in other words, if Mats Pedersen attacks with 40 kilometers to go, the guys are going to be on him in a flash. If Velasco goes, who knows? They might just say, well, that guy will come back to us later, and potentially he won't. So 300 to 1. We're certainly not going to be doing a lot of damage at that price. But guess what? I've got a couple of other bets. This is really a stage I wasn't too excited about until I started looking at the betting. And now I'm hell of excited. And let me bring those other bets up. Yesterday, we still managed to show a profit on the stage despite not hitting the winner. And that was because we had 2 units on Paulus over Jungels at what I thought was an excellent price of 16 to 1. And as expected, Paulus in the break, Jungels wasn't in the break. And that at least covered all of our stake. We're going to take a similar strategy today. 2 units on Ghana over Kung here at 5 to 4. That is available pretty much anywhere, but I think I'll highlight it here at Sunbet. Let's have a look at the match bets. Here we go. At 5 to 4, so that's 1.25 to 1. As I say, I expect Ghana in the break. Kung was in the break with Ghana two days back, but he also worked very hard yesterday. I think it might be time for Kung to have a bit of a day off in the peloton. And I think Ghana can get into the break. So I actually think anything above even money here on Ghana is a decent price. I'm going for 2 units on him to beat Kung. And then there's another bet where I'm looking at, which I'm going, this is a decent price. And that's in the Sunbet race specials market, where you've got the winning margin, but that's the distance between the winner and the second place. 1 second or less, 1 to 12. So they are really, really expecting a sprint finish. And yes, it might come. But at the end of the day, I think there's a pretty darn good chance that someone could go solo here and end up winning this by 10, 15 seconds, maybe even more. So, yeah, even if it's a select sort of bunch finish between 2 or 3, perhaps one of the guys goes solo with a couple of kilometers to go. I just think 5 to 1 is a decent price. Well, I think this is probably our longest preview yet, and it's mainly because I'm so excited from a betting perspective for today. I'll be bouncing with the golf, though, because I've got a big bet on Rory McIlroy, so let's hope he comes home lonely in the Open Championship. But certainly looking forward to all of the action. And, we should be in for a thrilling stage. Tomorrow is a rest day, so I think we all need a rest day, and we'll be back Monday night or Tuesday morning, more likely Monday night, with a preview of stage 16. Have a great Sunday, everyone, and shout home those long shots. Go Velasco, you beauty, at 300 to 1.